What is up, guys? It's your boy Vigil, back at it again with another video. And in today's video, we are doing a solo queue operator tier list. Alright, the tier list looks a little different. It doesn't have like the S tier, A tier. I sorted it out through every round. So an op that you can bring every round and be helpful to the team while solo queuing, that would be Ace, for example. Almost always is an op that you can almost always bring and be helpful, and that would be Castle. And then an op that you can sometimes bring is Capcan, a little bit situational in my opinion. And then Dokkaebi is kind of a rare op. Rare means just, rare. An op that you don't use too often, but there will be certain occasions that op will be helpful. And then Glaz would be never. Okay, you never use this op while solo queuing. Okay, so let's get started. Sledge. I'm gonna say Sledge as a sometimes. Okay, Sledge is a very good operator, but I don't really see you guys having to use them too much while solo queuing because you can bring Buck, and Buck is a lot better than Sledge in my opinion while solo queuing because you got those hard breach devices. So you can be a hard breacher and you can do vert play. You can open hatches as Buck. So I think I'll go ahead and put Buck. I think Buck is in every rounder when you're solo queuing. Buck is a great solo queue operator in my opinion. Thatcher, I'm going to say Thatcher is in every rounder. I don't think I really have to go into too much detail. If he's not banned, you guys should be bringing him over a Maverick, over Cali. Smoke, almost always Smoke is a really good operator, and I'm saying almost always because he has that shotgun that can make rotations, head holes, and then he wastes time. He has plant denial, and it's if you're a good smoke player, I would say maybe in every rounder while solo queuing, but we're gonna stick to almost always because I do think Mute is a better solo queue operator than Smoke. I think he does a little bit more while he has that wall denial, he has drone denial, and he can make rotations. Okay, and drone denial is huge while solo queuing. You're not gonna be able to give out too many call outs if you're solo queuing. So drone denial is huge, and then wall denial as well. So Thermite, I'm gonna go ahead and put Thermite as almost always. Obviously, Thermite you can bring every round and be helpful, but I am gonna kind of leave the every round category to the better solo queue ops, and I think Ace is a much better solo queue op than Thermite in my opinion. All right. And I do think Ace has better frag potential, as Thermite does have a good gun, but I think you can't go wrong with the AK-12. Ash, I'm going to put as sometimes. I really don't think Ash is the best solo queue operator, and I don't... Usually you got teammates droning you in when you're Ash, but you're not going to have that really when solo queuing. So I think the best kind of fragging op would be a Jackal. And Jackal's in every rounder while solo queuing. You don't need to really drone yourself in too far. You're not wasting yourself or wasting your time droning yourself in. And I don't know. I think Jackal's a really, really good frag op. Pulse, I'm going to say Pulse is a rare. Pulse is probably a B tier operator, but he's going to be rare when solo queuing because you really don't... You got to make sure your teammate... You have enough people on site to be able to play Pulse below, and you're not going to get many call outs if and where they are. So you can't, like, let's say you're underneath penthouse site. Let's say they're actually pushing theater. You might not get a call out that they're pushing theater. So Pulse can kind of be a rare op. I think on some sites he's very good, and that'll make him able to play while solo queuing, but I think you guys should stay away from Pulse while solo queuing. He has the and his ability is not the best for when solo queuing. Monty is a never. I think Monty takes a lot of coordination. I think he's a good op if you're in a full stack. I see people using him when you're in a full stack, but while solo queuing, he involves a lot of coordination. I would not do that. Twitch, I'm gonna say, sometimes has a lot of frag potential, but her drone is helpful, but it's just so easy to counter her drone. All you gotta do is shoot it or put a mute jammer down. So, I mean, I'm going to say sometimes because her frag, she's a really good fragger, but I still think Ashe is probably a better, like, you're going Twitch to frag, okay? Don't kid yourself. You're not going Twitch for a drone. You're going Twitch to frag. And I think Ashe, you would be a stronger pick while solo queuing. So I'm actually going to put Ashe as almost always. Doc, I'm going to put never. I really don't see a world where you need to pick Doc or Rook while solo queuing. There's a lot other operators. Of course, they help you with the heals and the armor, but Mute I feel like would make a much bigger impact on the round than a Doc or a Rook. And here, I got Thunderbird down here. Thunderbird is in every rounder. Thunderbird is your kind of heal op. Thunderbird, you guys should be playing every round while solo queuing. Not you necessarily, but make sure you have a Thunderbird. Thunderbird and Mute are really, really good ops to play on defense while solo queuing. Fuse is, I'm going to say, a rare. When you're going for a vert take, you're going to want to bring that buck. And then I said Sledge, and then I think Fuse. Okay, Fuse on certain occasions, maybe if you already have a buck and a Sledge and you don't need anybody else, then you bring a Fuse or something like that. But Fuse, you're really exposed when you're placing those cluster charges down. You can get C4 pretty easily. Fuse is becoming a stronger operator. He does have good frag potential, but I do think Buck and Sledge is a much better pick. Tachanka, I'm going to put as never. I mean, Tachanka's a worse smoke, and like, I think operators can... Smoke's whole job is, like, plant denial and kind of wasting time, like, stopping the enemy from coming into the site. There's other ops that can do that probably better than Tachanka, but not better than Smoke. So I'm putting Tachanka as a never while solo queuing. Blitz, never. I don't really think anybody should be playing Blitz ever, so... IQ, I'm going to say IQ is on the level of frag potential as Twitch. I think her gadget might be a little more helpful than Twitch. But, of course, you want to go Thatcher if you need to get stuff off the wall. Or you want to go Maverick. And Maverick's going to be an every rounder, okay? Maverick is a very, very good op in year 7. And, you'll pick a Maverick over a Twitch and IQ any day. For his gadget-wise. If you're going to frag, then you might pick a Twitch or IQ for the frag potential and a little bit for the gadget. Bandit, I'm going to say, is almost always... Bandit is a really good operator, but I think Kaid, when he's available, you guys have to be playing him almost every round, okay? If Kaid's available, you got to be playing Kaid and Mute for wall denial. I think Bandit's the worst one out of the 3, but Bandit is not a bad pick. If you need a Bandit trick, a wall, and you're not confident in your Kaid tricking, then I would pick Bandit. I'm actually going to put Bandit sometimes just because Kaid and Mute, I think, are a lot better than him. Jaeger's an every rounder. Jaeger is definitely an every rounder. Grenades are very powerful right now. Grenades are pretty overpowered right now, so you need to bring a Jaeger a lot. Frost, I would say, is rare. There are rare instances where I think a Frost is good. If the team is kind of like rushing in, I guess, and just hopping through windows, or there's a site with a lot of windows and you don't have anybody else to play, I think Frost might be a good pick. But I don't know. Blackbeard, I really don't see any reason to be playing him. Valkyrie, I would say, is the every rounder. I want to say every rounder. She got that nerf with the she can't throw her camera outside, or it blacks out after 10 seconds after you throw it outside. But I still think Valkyrie is an every rounder because she is the best intel operator in the game, okay? Capitao, I want to put rare, but I just don't see any reason to be using Capitao while solo queuing. Cav, I'm going to put never. Habana, I think, is I want to say on the same level as Thermite. Okay, you can almost always pick a Habana and be very helpful to the team, obviously, but it's just the ace is the better option. But on some sites, you would pick a Habana over an ace, like when you're attacking lockers. Habana's the person to go because there's like 4 hatches you can get. Echo, I would say, sometimes kind of a couple steps below Valkyrie with the intel. If Valkyrie's banned, then think about bringing the Echo. Mira, I would say, is rare. Maybe sometimes if you're at a higher rank, but rare, kind of at the average rank, I would say. Because you're going to have teammates reinforcing your Mira strat off and not really knowing what you're doing with Mira. And you kind of got to guard the walls, and you can't do it alone while solo queuing. So, I don't know. I think mirrors are rare. I don't really like to use my mirror strats when I solo queue because I feel like my teammates are going to reinforce the wrong walls. So I'm going to put mirror as a rare. She's a really good op, but I don't recommend using her while solo queuing. Ying, you know, she has the frag potential, but you need a good mix of frag potential and a good helpful gadget. She does not bring a helpful gadget whatsoever. So if you want to bring Ying in some instances, you can, but I don't recommend her necessarily. Legion, I'm going to do sometimes you can bring him and he's helpful. I think he's a good intel op, and he has a good, really good gun, good intel op. You know, I think he's kind of on that same level as Echo. You know, has the frag potential and an intel op. Probably has better frag, but less, not as good of gadget in my opinion. But you can bring him and be helpful, okay? You can almost always bring him and be helpful. Same with Echo, but I just think you got to pick the Valk over them. But what I might do is, I think I'm going to put Echo as almost always if available. Echo's a really good op. He's got the 2 yokais, plant denial. You can, yell pings are so important. I didn't talk about that when I was with Valkyrie. Ping is so important in solo queue. Those yellow pings are a lifesaver. They serve as callouts, guys, while solo queuing. Zofia, I'm going to put as rare. There is no reason, I think, to be playing Zofia, in my opinion. I think Ashe is a much better op, and you're probably playing Zofia to frag. I think Twitch and IQ is actually better ops to play. Ella, I think Ella is sometimes on that exact same level as Legion, in my opinion. Vigil, I think Vigil is the best. He's the best roamer in the game, okay? So, but you're not going to usually pick him every round because you got to pick the Jaeger. So, I kind of want to put Vigil as a sometimes because Vigil, you're not bringing anything to the team. Jaeger, you're bringing 3 ADSs that are huge, and then you are bringing that carbine for yourself, and you can roam with Jaeger. So there's no reason I think you should be playing Vigil over a Jaeger or a Wamai. Okay, Wamai's almost always if Jaeger's banned. and you can't play Jaeger, you play Wamai. Wamai and Jaeger are better roamers than or will be better for the team overall than Vigil. Not necessarily a better roamer, but better for the team overall. Lion, I'm gonna say Lion is I want to say rare, but I don't think so. I think he's a never. I don't really see a reason to be playing Lion while solo queuing. There's other operators that you need to be playing. Finka, I would say, is a sometimes very helpful to the team. Has that frag potential. So like on the same level as this Twitch and IQ. Okay. If you think Finka's ability is better than Twitch's ability in that certain situation, then play Finka. But Finka's not an every rounder at all. Alibi, I'm going to say never. Alibi really doesn't bring anything. Her gun kind of sucks now, especially on console. Maestro, I would say, is kind of on the same level as Ella and Legion. People were probably going to say, Maestro's better than Ella and Legion. I personally don't think so. So I'm going to put him on the same level as Ella and Legion. Good intel lob, good for certain situations, but sometimes I kind of think he's useless. So Clash, I'm going to put never just because it takes so much coordination. I think Clash is actually a C tier operator. She's kind of an average op, but she just takes a lot of coordination, I feel like. Nomad's an every rounder. Best flank watch in the game, and I'm going to go ahead and put Gridlock as a sometimes. Gridlock's a couple steps below Nomad. They do the exact same thing. If Nomad's banned or you can't play Nomad for whatever reason, then Gridlock is a good secondary option. But watching your flank, or you can throw a drone on your flank, or you could tell your teammate in game chat to watch the flank, but that doesn't mean they're going to do it. Does not mean they're going to ping on your drone. That doesn't mean they're going to go on your drone. Okay, if you just have an air jab, shoot an air jab back there, then you don't have to worry about your flank for the rest of the round. And kind of same thing with Gridlock. I do think Nomad's a lot better, though. Mozzie, I think Mozzie's kind of rare. I'm not going to lie. I think... I don't know. I want to put him as sometimes, but I think he's a rare. Okay. If you're confident you can get somebody's drone and you think you can get a C4 kill, I think that's kind of the play with Mozzie. Like, I like to play him downstairs in Arsenal, C4 kitchen, but like it's not a guarantee you're gonna get a drone. With Legion, Ella, and Maestro, you guarantee have your gadgets that will be helpful to the team. So Mozzie is not really in that boat. I think Nook's a very underrated op, but I'm going to say you should never be playing him while solo queuing. Really brings nothing to the team. But he's a really underrated fragger, in my opinion. Warden's a never. Warden is the most situational op in the game. And he brings really nothing to the team. Amaru, I think Amaru's a never. Once again, these, like, where's Warden? All right, these three ops I actually think are really, like, good operators for fragging. They just bring absolutely nothing to the team. I mean, Nook does bring grenades, so if you need, I'm gonna put Nook as a rare because he does bring grenades and he has that. And then he's a really good fragger. So if you need to bring somebody with grenades and you want to frag, then I think you bring the Nook. Or, well, I guess you bring the Finka. I don't know. Yeah, Nook's probably a rare. Goyo, we gotta kind of see how this plays out. I think it's really good, to be honest with you, but I'm gonna put him as a sometimes because I think his gadget was a rare at first. Now I'm gonna put him as a sometimes because his gadget did get a little bit better, in my opinion. Because you can put it on walls. Well, I don't know if it's a nerf or a buff yet, to be honest. It kind of looks like a buff to me. But other people are going to say it's a nerf. But so far, I think it's a buff. But it's only been like 2 days. So I'm going to put Callie. Callie, once again, serves kind of as exactly like a Thatcher or a Maverick. She has a better gadget. And she can get the job done better than Maverick. but her frag potential is just not there. So I don't want to see people be playing Callie if you're solo queuing. You cannot frag on Callie. I don't care if you're Bolo. You can't frag on Callie. Yana. I'm going to put Yana. She's a really good intel op on attack, okay? And she kind of serves as a Jackal. So I'm going to put her a step below Jackal. And if you want to frag, I would play the Yana. I would play the Yana if Jackal is banned, okay? Once again, you have those 3 drones for yourself, or you don't even have 3. I keep saying Yana has 3, but she actually has unlimited close, and you should never be dying to people sitting or ratting in a corner because you have so many drones. And then you also have nades with Yana. So Yana's in almost always, in my opinion. I think it really depends. If you need Ash's utility, you play Ash. If you're deciding between Ash and Yana. Oryx is a very underrated roamer. He's simply a fragger, in my opinion. Just simply a fragger. Does Vigil roam and waste time a little bit better than Oryx? I prefer Oryx, to be honest, but I'm going to say Oryx is more of a rare, and Vigil's probably better for that. I'm not as good with Vigil. I'm better with Oryx, but I would say Vigil probably overall has the better gadget for wasting time and doing his job than Oryx. Malusi, kind of same level as the Legion, Ella, and Maestro. She does the same thing, has the frag potential, has a pretty darn good gadget. Her gadget might be better than Ella and Legion's. But, she's got the frag potential and then her gadget, but it's not a game changer. It's not a must pick while solo queuing, okay? Zero, I'm going to say is rare. You could use it as kind of like shoot his drones for or shoot his thing for like a flank watch, but you can't trust your teammates to get on those drones. So are they drones? They're not drones, they're cameras. Whatever. You can't trust your teammates to get on these cameras, really. So I don't really think you should be playing a Zero at all. Yeah, you shouldn't be playing a Zero. There's just no reason for it. You need to be playing a Gridlock or a Nomad because Zero basically does the same thing. If you're in a squad, I can see why you would play Zero because Zero is much better fragging than Gridlock. But they kind of do the same thing. They're kind of a flank watch intel operator, and Yana's a much better intel op than Zero. So Zero's a never pick in my opinion. He has good guns, but never pick. Aruni I'm gonna put as rare. I think her gadget's not as good as Ella and Legion, and it won't make as big of a difference as them. I could be wrong. Maybe you guys would put him or her as a sometimes or almost always. I know a lot of people like Aruni, but personally, I don't think her gadget is as good as Legion, Ella, or Maestro. Or Malusi. Even though you might be able to make the argument for Maestro is an Aruni's gadget, I still just don't like the Aruni, to be honest. I don't like the Roni either. There's no room for error with that gun. Flores, sometimes, okay? Flores, you should be playing over Callie, that's for sure. If there are shields, you bring a Flores. It's pretty simple. If there are shields that you need to get rid of, you bring a Flores, and if they don't have a mute. So 2 criteria to bring a Flores. And I would say you can bring a Flores over a Maverick if they have a lot of shields and they don't have a mute. Then you can bring a Flores. Okay, so Osa. I really like Osa, but there's really no reason to be playing her in solo queue. Absolutely none. It's kind of still to be determined what kind of role she plays in a team. So you don't really know why you're going Osa when you go Osa, to be honest with you. Thorn, I think Thorn's gadget's really good. I don't think his gun's that good. You guys can disagree with me if you want, but I don't think it's very good. So I'm going to put Thorn as a sometimes. I'm actually going to also put Aruni as a sometimes, too. Aruni is on the same level as Maestro. Okay. I think Ella and Legion and Thorn are better than her, but not much, by much. Okay. Is that it? Yep, that's it. Alright, so guys, this is my solo queue tier list, okay? So these operators up here, Ace, Buck, Thatcher, Mute, Jackal, Thunderbird, Maverick, Kaid, Jaeger, Val, Nomad, you guys should be wearing every round. I know I have a lot more than like 10 ops up here. What do I have 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 11. Okay, whatever. But some of these ops get banned, guys. So Kaid gets banned a lot. I know Jackal gets banned. Thatcher gets banned. So the replacement ops you'll see down here. You know, for Thatcher, you might be playing a Maverick. For a Kaid, you could be going to a Bandit. And then for Jackal, you would be playing Yana. For ops, sometimes Capcan's a really good situational operator. I didn't really talk about how he's so much better than Frost. He slows the team down. If the team's rushing on you, then bring a Capcan. But yeah, this is my tier list, guys, for solo queue operators. If you guys play these ops, if you can play these ops, then play them, alright? If you play Jaeger a lot in your squad, then I would play Jaeger a lot when solo queuing. I'm not going to lie. Jaeger is not... He is very helpful. He's a very helpful operator. He is support, and he's very helpful. That's why he's very good. But yeah. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like the video if you like the video. And then subscribe if you're not already, and I'll have more content coming your way.